Hello everyone, my name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and this is the Forex weekly outlook for the week of June the 21st, 2010. Now, getting started right away this week, we're going to be looking at again the US dollar index and making our assessment for the week based around the analysis of not only the US dollar but the equities, the commodities, a number of different markets. Now, I think our presentation will be somewhat brief this week because I think the outlook is going to be very similar throughout the Forex pattern, and that's US dollar weakness. So having a look at the triple EMA crossover from Vantage Point, we can see that the 3-day has crossed the 8-day and the 18-day predicted moving average. The predicted medium and long-term differences are both negative, however they are heavily oversold. Now our predicted MACD and predicted true strength indicator do have room to extend, a considerable amount of room to extend. The medium, particularly the medium-term difference, is somewhat oversold and it's a bit of a concern. So we might see a little bit of dollar strength to begin the week, but then the overall trend is likely to complete itself and the US dollar will weaken further against the pack. So, and by that I mean it'll weaken against the US CAD, it'll weaken in the Euro, the US Swiss franc, Aussie, New Zealand, right across the board. That is likely to what's going to happen. So with that said, the US dollar index clearly pointing to further weakness to begin the week, but again we're somewhat oversold, so this could lead to a short-term bout of US dollar strength. Now just to take that one step further, I'm going to go in and illustrate that by using the daily report from Vantage Point just to show the predicted short, medium and long-term differences. So we can see here the predicted short, medium, long-term differences getting a little bit oversold here. Short term not too bad, the medium and the longer term little oversold. So again, that's likely where I suspect that bounce is going to come from. So with that said, let's go in and have a look at some of the other markets and see how that's correlating. Looking at the S&P 500, we can see that we're getting a fresh buy signal on the S&P 500 coming in off this 1098 area. We've closed the week at 1118, so only a sustained break of 1098. And again, I use the word sustained break because I don't mean a dip below it. I mean a sustained break of this area. Only that will take the pressure off the top side here. So again, with this triple EMA crossover getting ready to make its move, this further does not support more US dollar strength. It actually supports US dollar weakness, and that's what we want to keep in the back of our minds at all times, is to keep an eye on these equities because they will be a deciding factor next week in the direction of the US dollar. Now the predicted MACD, the predicted true strength indicator, all of these indicators support further upside. Now we're getting a little bit overbought on the predicted medium and long-term differences, but nothing to be too concerned with. Everything still looks pretty decent there. So the bias on the equities, to the top side, we're going to see some resistance probably in the 1120 area. We can see we've got 3 or 4 candlesticks right here off of this 1120, but we're also seeing a good strong close at 1118, all of which not exactly US dollar positive. Now going into our commodities, having a look at the gold contracts, you remember that I spoke last week that what I suspected would happen is that the US dollar and the gold would weaken somewhat together, but then gold would break higher. Now that is exactly what has happened here. Gold has moved aggressively higher. I think we're at an all-time high close at the 1257. We've got our key level of support sitting down here at 1125. Further upside bias is very, very likely on the gold contract. And the gold contracts, excuse me, particularly if those equities keep pushing higher and the euro recovery is sustainable. Now we'll have to get into the euro recovery down the road here. I'm not sure about it. I'm not completely convinced on that as of yet, but for now everything looks pretty good. We've got the buy signal on the equities, the sell signal on the US dollar. All of that is pretty supportive of that euro currency. Now looking at the light sweet crude contracts, this is a positive for the Canadian dollar. We've got a fresh crossover, a buy signal on the equity, or excuse me, on the light sweet crude. This has been a very, very profitable trade for us for the last several weeks, buying off this 69 and 70 level. We've closed the week here at 77.18. Very, very strong close there. So everything looks good. Again, this is another indicator of further US dollar weakness when we have a buy signal on equities and we have a buy signal on light sweet crude. We don't want to lose sight of that all of these indicators are piling up against the US dollar. Now Going into, again, we're going to have a quick look here at some of our currency futures before we go into our currency pairs. I think it's important to look at the two major currency futures that are drivers in the market. That's the Euro futures and the Yen futures. Now, looking here at the Euro futures, we can see that we have just about got a completed buy signal on this triple EMA. However, it is not complete yet. So this can be considered somewhat of a very dangerous time here, because if this thing reverses, it could hit and reverse lower very abruptly. Now, looking at the way this market is moving up, all of these green indicators, we're having a large number of positive days here. That's what's illustrated with these green candlesticks continually moving higher. You can almost see a trend line building down here. So with the Euro FX futures contracts, they look to remain positive this week. Now, looking at the Japanese yen currency futures, we can see that we've got a buy signal here on the yen futures. That's an unusual signal, considering usually the yen futures and the US dollar index, they usually weaken together. We've got an actual fresh buy signal here. This suggests that Euro Japan, US Japan, Aussie Japan, pound yen, they could all come under pressure. So we want to be a little cautious there. That one actually makes me a little bit nervous, to be perfectly honest. So because again, I would like to see that weaker. So going into some of our currency pairs, let's have a look and see what is happening here. We can see that the Euro US is basically almost identical to the Euro futures contracts. Now, to start the week, we've got a buy signal here on the true strength indicator, the predicted MACD. All of these are indicating further upside biased. We've got a key level here, 122.72, 122.67, and 123.56 with a close of 123.91. The assessment here is that only a sustained break of 122.72 will take the pressure off the top side on Euro US, and we will look for this triple EMA to continue to make that move. If that crossover is complete, we should see several weeks, possibly even several months of buying euros here and selling US dollars. So we'll see how this progresses. Now, to begin the week here, we're going to go in, have a quick look at the daily report, see what a potential pivotal area. 122.72 is obviously a critical level for Sunday, Monday trade. We've got 123.18 as the predicted low, 124.61. So a good entry point here, 123.18, stops below the 122.40 area to make sure we stay clear of anything happening there, because certainly the brokers would love to run stops once the market starts building longs in the Euro-US currency pair. So a bit of a concern there. We don't want to get caught long, so we want to keep things fairly tight. Myself, if I'm trading Euro-US long, my stops, I would prefer them to be in and about the 122.20, 122.10 area. Now, going into our New Zealand US dollar, this is why I'm saying we're not going to spend too much time on this, because the pattern is going to be very similar throughout the Forex market, and that's based around US dollar weakness. Now, with the New Zealand US dollar, we have a fresh buy signal from the triple EMA crossover. We're not in overbought territory yet. We've got the predicted MACD and the predicted true strength indicator both showing further upside potential on the New Zealand US dollar. Now, something that could cause this to turn the other way is excessive yen strength. If the